What happens when a boy with nothing but curiosity faces a creature that could destroy an entire planet? Just as hope seems lost, one word changes everything, leaving even the stars trembling in its wake. Deep within the heart of Eldergrove Forest, whispers of terror spread like wildfire among its inhabitants. For centuries, the forest had been a sanctuary, a place where nature thrived untouched by time. Yet now, shadows loomed longer than ever before, and fear crept into every corner of existence. It began on a moonless night when the earth itself seemed to tremble beneath an unknown force. Trees bent unnaturally, their leaves wilting under an invisible pressure. Then came the sound, a deep, guttural roar that echoed across valleys, freezing all who heard it in place. The villagers of Silver Hollow, nestled at the edge of the ancient woods, first dismissed the rumors as mere superstition. After all, tales of monsters were common around campfires, meant only to entertain or frighten children. But then the attacks started. Livestock vanished without a trace, crops burned to ash overnight, and finally the beast revealed itself. Towering above the treeline, its form was both grotesque and awe-inspiring. Black scales shimmered like oil under the dim starlight, while razor-sharp claws tore through anything they touched. Its eyes glowed crimson, burning with malice and hunger. No weapon could pierce its hide, no spell could banish it. The beast moved with purpose, leaving devastation in its wake. Silver Hollow fell silent as the monster approached. Men barricaded doors, women clutched their children close, and even the bravest warriors hesitated to draw their swords. None dared challenge the creature, not after seeing what it did to those foolish enough to try. Houses crumbled, fields turned barren, and hope dwindled faster than anyone thought possible. But amidst the chaos, there was one person who refused to surrender. A young boy named Elias wandered alone through the wreckage, his wide eyes taking in the destruction. Unlike others, he wasn't paralyzed by fear. Instead, curiosity burned brightly within him. What drove such a powerful being? Why destroy without reason? These questions gnawed at his mind, urging him closer to danger despite the warnings shouted from behind locked doors. Elias didn't know why he felt drawn to the beast. Perhaps it was the stories his grandmother used to tell, legends of creatures born from forgotten magic, misunderstood rather than evil. Or maybe it was simply the stubborn streak inherited from his father, who always taught him never to back down from a mystery. Whatever the reason, Elias found himself standing face to face with the monstrous entity as dawn broke over the horizon. The beast paused mid-step, its massive frame casting a shadow that swallowed the boy whole. For a moment, neither moved. Elias stared up at the creature, his heart pounding but his resolve unshaken. He noticed details others might have missed, the way its chest rose and fell unevenly, as though struggling to breathe, or the faint scar running along its snout, evidence of battles long past. Most striking of all were its eyes. Though filled with rage, they also held something else: pain. Deep, unbearable pain. "Why?" Elias whispered, his voice barely audible over the wind. To everyone's astonishment, the beast reacted. It tilted its head slightly, almost as if confused by the question. Then, with a deafening roar, it raised a clawed paw, ready to strike. But instead of flinching, Elias took another step forward. "You don't have to do this," he said louder this time, his tone firm yet gentle. "There's still good in you. I know it." For reasons no one understood, not even Elias himself, the beast hesitated. Its arm froze mid-air, trembling as though caught between two instincts: destruction versus restraint, hatred versus something else. Word traveled quickly through the village. Some called Elias reckless, others foolish. But a few saw something extraordinary in his actions, a spark of defiance against overwhelming odds. Little did they realize, however, that this encounter marked only the beginning of a greater struggle. one that would test not only Elias's courage but the very fabric of their world. News of Elias's confrontation with the beast spread like wildfire throughout Silver Hollow. By midday, nearly every villager had gathered outside the town hall, eager to discuss what had transpired. Opinions clashed fiercely. Some viewed Elias as a hero, brave beyond his years, while others condemned him as reckless and naive. "He should have stayed hidden like the rest of us," shouted Old Man Griggs, leaning heavily on his cane, his weathered face twisted in anger. "That thing could have killed him, and yet it didn't," countered Lila, the baker's daughter, her arms crossed defiantly. "Maybe there's more to this story than we think." Amidst the heated debate, Mayor Hawthorne attempted to restore order. Standing atop the steps of the town hall, he raised his hands for silence. When the crowd finally quieted, he spoke gravely. "No matter your opinions, one thing is clear. The boy acted alone, risking his life for reasons we may never fully understand. Whether his actions were wise or foolish remains to be seen. But let us not forget, we owe him our gratitude for surviving what none of us dared attempt." Despite these words, tension simmered beneath the surface. Families huddled together, whispering anxiously about what might come next. Would the beast return? Had Elias truly changed anything, or merely delayed the inevitable? Meanwhile, Elias remained oblivious to the commotion. Seated beneath a gnarled oak tree on the outskirts of town, he replayed the encounter in his mind. The beast's hesitation haunted him. Was it anger that stopped it, or something deeper? Could there be a way to communicate further, to bridge the gap between human and monster? As dusk settled over the village, casting long shadows across cobblestone streets, Elias made a decision. He would seek answers no matter the cost. The next morning, Elias ventured back into the forest, his resolve stronger than ever. Armed with nothing more than a satchel of food and a lantern to guide him through the dense canopy, he felt an inexplicable pull toward the heart of Eldergrove. It was as though the forest itself was whispering secrets meant only for him. As he walked, the air grew heavier, thick with the scent of damp earth and decaying leaves. Shadows danced unnaturally between trees, their movements almost sentient. Yet Elias pressed on, undeterred by the eerie atmosphere. He had no map, no clear destination, only instinct guiding his steps. After hours of wandering, he stumbled upon something unexpected. A circle of ancient stones, overgrown with moss and vines. At first glance, it appeared to be a relic of a forgotten age, but closer inspection revealed intricate carvings etched into the rock, symbols that seemed to shimmer faintly in the dim light. Elias ran his fingers over the markings, feeling a strange warmth emanate from them. Suddenly, a low growl echoed through the clearing. His pulse quickened as he turned to see the beast standing at the edge of the stone circle, its glowing eyes locked onto him. This time, however, it didn't attack. Instead, it circled the perimeter cautiously, sniffing the air as if trying to decipher the significance of the sight. Elias noticed something new about the creature now, an aura of uncertainty surrounding it. Whatever this place was, it clearly held meaning for the beast as well. Taking a deep breath, Elias stepped closer to the stones, speaking softly. "What are you looking for? Why did you come here?" For a moment, the world seemed to hold its breath. Then, with a thunderous roar, the beast lunged, not at Elias, but at one of the stones. Its claws struck the surface, sending fragments flying. Beneath the rubble lay something small and glimmering, a shard of crystal, pulsating with an otherworldly light. Without hesitation, Elias reached out and picked it up. As soon as his fingers closed around the object, visions flooded his mind, images of fire, destruction, and sorrow. But there was also hope, flickering like a candle in the darkness. When the visions subsided, he found himself staring into the beast's eyes once again. Only this time, they weren't filled with rage. They were pleading. The shard pulsed rhythmically in Elias's hand, its energy resonating with the very core of his being. He felt a strange connection to it, as though it had been waiting for him all along. The beast watched intently, its massive form eerily still. For the first time, Elias sensed vulnerability in the creature, a crack in its armor of fury and destruction. "What is this?" Elias murmured, turning the shard over in his palm. "Why does it matter so much to you?" In response, the beast let out a low whine, almost like a wounded animal. It lowered its head, exposing the scar along its snout. The gesture was unmistakable: trust. Slow, or perhaps even understood why, Elias extended his free hand toward the creature. The villagers had always spoken of beasts as mindless forces of chaos, but Elias couldn't shake the feeling that this one carried burdens far greater than anyone could imagine. The shard's glow intensified, bathing the clearing in soft, golden light. Visions returned, clearer this time. Elias saw flashes of a distant past, a civilization long gone, ruled by beings who wielded unimaginable power. Among them stood a figure cloaked in shadow, wielding a staff crowned with the same crystal shard. The vision shifted, revealing a cataclysmic battle that tore the land apart. In the aftermath, the shard shattered, scattering its fragments across the world. When the images faded, Elias realized the truth. The beast wasn't born evil. It was cursed. Trapped between two worlds, it sought not destruction but redemption. And somehow the shard was key to breaking the cycle. The weight of this revelation settled heavily on Elias's shoulders. Could he truly help such a creature? Or would attempting to do so unleash even greater horrors? One thing was certain: the stakes had risen exponentially. Elias knew he couldn't face this challenge alone. Returning to Silver Hollow under the cover of night, he sought out Lila, the baker's daughter. Of all the villagers, she had shown the most understanding during the heated debates following his encounter with the beast. She listened intently as he recounted everything: the stone circle, the shard, and the visions it had revealed. "You think the beast is cursed?" Lila asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Her skepticism was evident, but curiosity burned in her eyes. "It's more than just a monster," Elias replied earnestly. "It's suffering, and I believe we can help it if we're careful." Lila hesitated, glancing toward the window where moonlight filtered through shutters. Finally, she nodded. "All right, but we'll need supplies and answers. Start with my uncle Alden. He spends half his life buried in old books. If anyone knows anything about these shards, it's him." Alden lived on the outskirts of town, his cottage crammed floor to ceiling with dusty tomes and peculiar artifacts. When Elias and Lila arrived, he greeted them warily, clutching a tattered book close to his chest. After explaining their mission, Alden's demeanor shifted. His eyes widened behind thick spectacles as he flipped frantically through pages. "The Shard of Lumina," he muttered, tracing a passage with a trembling finger. "Said to bind souls to realms they don't belong. If misused, it could unravel reality itself." "Then how do we use it correctly?" Elias demanded, gripping the shard tightly. Alden sighed, shaking his head. "That knowledge vanished with the ancients. All I can tell you is this: tread carefully. The path ahead is fraught with peril." Armed with newfound information and trepidation, they prepared to return to the forest. Little did they know, their journey was about to become infinitely more complicated. As Elias and Lila ventured deeper into Eldergrove Forest, the air grew colder, and the shadows seemed to stretch unnaturally long. The shard in Elias's hand pulsed with a faint, rhythmic glow, guiding them like a compass. Yet, the forest wasn't willing to let them pass unchallenged. They soon encountered their first obstacle: a pack of shadowy, wolf-like creatures that materialized from the darkness. Their eyes glowed faintly green, and their movements were eerily synchronized. Lila instinctively grabbed a fallen branch, wielding it like a makeshift weapon, while Elias held the shard aloft. Its light intensified, casting the creatures in an ethereal glow. To their astonishment, the wolves hesitated, snarling but keeping their distance. "They're guarding something?" Elias whispered, his voice steady despite the tension. "We need to keep moving." With the shard lighting their way, they pressed forward, the wolves stalking them silently until they disappeared into the trees. It was then that they stumbled upon another anomaly. A massive tree at the center of a clearing, its bark shimmering with veins of silver. At its base lay scattered fragments of what appeared to be more shards, each pulsating faintly with the same energy as the one Elias carried. "This must be where the other pieces are hidden," Lila said, her voice tinged with awe. "But why would the forest protect them?" Before Elias could respond, the ground beneath them trembled. From the shadows emerged a towering figure. Not the beast they had encountered before, but another creature entirely. This one was covered in moss and vines, its body resembling living wood. Its eyes burned with a fierce, protective light. "The Shardkeeper," Alden's voice echoed in Elias's mind. He remembered the old man mentioning ancient guardians tasked with protecting the shards. But would this creature see them as allies or threats? The Shardkeeper loomed over them, its presence both majestic and terrifying. Roots extended from its feet, anchoring it to the earth as though it were part of the forest itself. It raised a gnarled hand, and the air crackled with energy. Elias stepped forward, holding up the shard. "We mean no harm," he said firmly, his voice carrying an unexpected authority. "We seek to heal, not destroy." For a moment, the Shardkeeper didn't move. Then, slowly, it lowered its hand and gestured toward the tree. A single word formed in Elias's mind, spoken without sound: "Prove." Lila glanced at him nervously. "What does it want?" "It wants us to prove ourselves," Elias replied. "But how?" The answer came in the form of a challenge. The forest around them shifted, the trees bending inward to create a labyrinth of thorny walls. A single path led forward, marked by glowing runes etched into the ground. "This isn't just about finding our way," Lila said, examining the runes. "It's a test of trust. If we make a wrong choice, the forest will turn against us." Elias nodded, clutching the shard tightly. Together, they began navigating the maze, deciphering the runes and relying on intuition to guide their steps. Each decision felt heavier than the last, as though the weight of the world rested on their shoulders. At one point, they reached a fork in the path. One route was illuminated by soft, inviting light, while the other was shrouded in shadow. Lila hesitated, her instincts urging her toward the brighter path. But Elias paused, sensing something amiss. "Sometimes the safest path isn't the right one," he murmured, choosing the darker route. As they stepped forward, the shadows parted, revealing a cluster of additional shards nestled among the roots. The Shardkeeper watched silently, its expression unreadable. When they returned to the clearing, it inclined its head slightly, a gesture of approval. With several shards now in their possession, Elias and Lila retraced their steps toward the stone circle where they had first encountered the beast. Along the way, they noticed subtle changes in the forest. The air felt lighter, the oppressive weight lifting ever so slightly. Even the shard in Elias's hand seemed to hum with renewed energy. When they arrived at the clearing, the beast was already there, pacing anxiously. Its movements were erratic, almost frantic, as though it sensed the proximity of the shards. For the first time, Elias saw fear in its eyes, not for itself, but for something greater. "What's wrong with it?" Lila asked, gripping her improvised weapon tightly. "I think it knows we're close to breaking the curse," Elias replied. "But it's afraid of what might happen next." He approached cautiously, holding out the shards. The beast froze, its crimson gaze fixed on the glowing fragments. Then, with a deafening roar, it lunged, not at Elias, but at the stones themselves. Its claws tore through the ancient carvings, releasing a surge of energy that sent shockwaves rippling through the clearing. Elias staggered back, shielding Lila as the ground split open, revealing a hidden chamber beneath the stones. Inside lay a pedestal, cracked and weathered, with a hollow space perfectly shaped to hold the shards. "This is it," Elias said, his voice trembling with anticipation. "If we place the shards here, we might finally understand what's binding the beast and how to free it." But as he stepped closer, the beast let out a guttural growl, blocking his path. It wasn't attacking, it was warning them. "There's more to this than we realize," Lila whispered. "We can't rush this." Elias hesitated, the weight of the shards in his hands almost unbearable. The beast's growl reverberated through the clearing, its massive form casting a shadow that seemed to swallow the light entirely. Lila stood frozen, her eyes darting between Elias and the pedestal beneath the shattered stones. "We're so close," Elias muttered under his breath, his voice barely audible over the tension in the air. "But why is it stopping us?" The beast lowered its head, its glowing eyes locked onto Elias with an intensity that sent shivers down his spine. It wasn't anger radiating from the creature now. It was desperation. Something about the pedestal terrified it. Lila took a cautious step forward, her voice steady despite the fear evident in her expression. "Maybe it knows something we don't. Maybe placing the shards there isn't just about breaking the curse. It could be dangerous for everyone." Elias clenched his fists around the shards, feeling their energy pulse against his palms. He couldn't ignore the visions they had shown him earlier, images of destruction, chaos, and suffering. But intertwined with those horrors had been glimpses of hope, of healing. Could the beast truly understand the consequences better than they did? Before he could decide, the ground beneath them trembled violently. The forest seemed to come alive, roots twisting upward and shadows converging into humanoid shapes. The Shardkeeper emerged once more, its wooden form towering above them. This time, however, it wasn't alone. Dozens of smaller, vine-covered creatures surrounded the clearing, their glowing eyes fixed on the shards in Elias's hands. "The forest doesn't want us to finish this," Lila whispered, her grip tightening on her makeshift weapon. Elias shook his head. "No, the forest wants us to choose wisely." Summoning every ounce of courage, he turned back to the beast. "If you're afraid of what happens next, then help me understand. Show me why I shouldn't do this." For a moment, nothing happened. Then, with a deep, mournful roar, the beast extended one clawed paw toward the pedestal. A faint image flickered in the air, a vision of the shards merging together, unleashing a blinding explosion of energy that consumed everything in its path. Elias staggered back, his mind racing. Was this the truth? Or was the beast trying to deceive them? The vision faded, leaving Elias and Lila staring at the pedestal in stunned silence. The shards in Elias's hands pulsed erratically, as if responding to the turmoil within him. The forest seemed to hold its breath, waiting for his decision. "We have to trust our instincts," Lila said finally, her voice cutting through the tension. "You've come this far because you believe in doing what's right. Don't let fear stop you now." Elias nodded slowly, though doubt still gnawed at him. Raising the shards high, he approached the pedestal once more. The beast didn't move to stop him this time, but its eyes never left him, filled with both sorrow and resolve. As Elias placed the first shard into the hollow space, a surge of energy erupted outward, sending waves of golden light cascading across the clearing. The forest itself seemed to awaken, leaves rustling and branches swaying as though rejoicing. Yet, the beast let out a pained cry, collapsing to its knees as the light enveloped it. "What's happening to it?" Lila shouted, rushing to Elias's side. "I don't know," Elias replied, panic rising in his chest. "But it's not supposed to hurt like this." The second shard fit into place, amplifying the energy tenfold. The beast's form began to shift, its dark scales cracking and falling away to reveal something beneath. A figure cloaked in shadow, trembling as though caught between two worlds. It's not the beast anymore, Elias realized, his voice trembling. It's someone trapped inside. With trembling hands, he reached for the final shard. Placing it into the pedestal triggered a deafening explosion of light. For a moment, everything disappeared. The forest, the pedestal, even Lila beside him. All that remained was the figure from the vision, standing before him in the void. "You've done well," a voice echoed, deep and resonant. "But the cost has yet to be paid." Elias squinted against the brilliance of the light, struggling to make sense of the figure before him. Its features were indistinct, shifting like smoke, but its presence was overwhelming. "Who are you?" Elias demanded, clutching the shard tightly despite the absence of any physical threat. "I am the Keeper of Lumina," the figure replied, its voice carrying a weight that made Elias's knees buckle. "And you have awakened the power of the shards too soon." "Too soon," Elias echoed, confusion mingling with frustration. "We're trying to save the beast, to free whoever's trapped inside." The Keeper's gaze softened, though it remained piercing. "The shards are not merely tools of liberation. They are fragments of a greater force, one capable of reshaping reality itself. To use them without understanding their true nature risks unraveling the balance of existence." Elias felt a chill run down his spine. "Then why show me these visions? Why lead me here if it's so dangerous?" "Because you are unique," the Keeper explained. "You possess a rare quality, innocence untainted by greed or malice. Only someone like you can wield the shards without succumbing to their power. But even then, the cost will be great." "What kind of cost?" Elias asked, dread pooling in his stomach. The Keeper gestured, and a new vision unfolded before him. He saw Silver Hollow engulfed in flames, the villagers fleeing in terror. He saw himself standing alone amidst the ruins, holding the completed shard, its light consuming everything around him. And he saw the beast. No, the person trapped within it. Finally free, but at a price too terrible to comprehend. "You must decide," the Keeper intoned. "Will you complete the ritual knowing the consequences? Or will you leave the shards untouched, allowing the cycle of suffering to continue?" Elias stood frozen, his mind racing as the visions faded and the Keeper's words echoed in the void. The weight of the decision pressed down on him like a mountain, threatening to crush his resolve. He glanced at the figure before him, the person trapped within the beast, and saw not a monster, but a soul burdened by centuries of torment. Lila's voice broke through the silence, though she wasn't physically present. It was as if her words traveled across dimensions, reaching him in this ethereal space. "Elias, you've always trusted your heart. Whatever happens, don't lose sight of why you started this." Her faith in him reignited something deep inside. Elias took a step forward, addressing the Keeper with newfound determination. "If completing the ritual means saving someone who's suffered for so long, then I'll do it. But I won't let it destroy innocent lives. There has to be another way." The Keeper regarded him silently, its form shimmering like liquid gold. Finally, it spoke. "There is one path, though it requires great sacrifice. You must anchor the shard's power within yourself, becoming a vessel for their energy. This will allow you to break the curse without unleashing their full potential, but it will bind you to them forever." "Bind me how?" Elias asked, his voice steady despite the fear coiling in his chest. "You will carry the shard's essence within you," the Keeper explained. "Their light will guide you, but their burden will shape your destiny. You will walk between worlds, neither fully human nor Holy Spirit. And when the time comes, you may have to make the ultimate sacrifice to restore balance." Elias hesitated, the enormity of the choice sinking in. Yet, even as doubt crept in, he knew there was no turning back. The person trapped in the beast deserved freedom, and the villagers deserved peace. If taking on this burden could give them both, then it was a price he was willing to pay. "I'll do it," he said firmly, his voice cutting through the stillness. The keeper nodded, its expression unreadable. "Then prepare yourself. The ritual begins now." The void dissolved, and Elias found himself back in the clearing, the pedestal glowing brighter than ever. Lila stood beside him, her face pale but resolute. She had no memory of speaking to him in the vision, yet she seemed to understand instinctively that something monumental was about to happen. "The forest is quiet," she whispered, glancing around nervously. "It's waiting." Elias stepped toward the pedestal, placing his hands over the shards. As soon as he touched them, a searing pain shot through his body, forcing him to his knees. The shard's energy surged outward, wrapping around him like liquid fire. Visions flooded his mind, countless lifetimes of suffering, joy, creation, and destruction, all compressed into a single moment. Through gritted teeth, Elias focused on the image of the person trapped in the beast. Their face was clearer now, etched with sorrow but also hope. He channeled every ounce of strength into holding onto that image, using it as an anchor against the overwhelming tide of power threatening to consume him. Lila watched helplessly, tears streaming down her face. "Elias, please hold on." Her plea reached him faintly, grounding him just enough to push through the agony. Slowly, the shards began to merge, their fragmented light fusing together into a single, radiant orb. The beast let out a final, anguished roar as its form disintegrated, leaving behind the figure from the visions. A young woman clad in tattered robes, her eyes wide with disbelief. "It's done," Elias gasped, collapsing to the ground as the last of the shard's energy settled within him. But the victory was bittersweet. As the woman stumbled forward, free at last, Elias felt a strange emptiness growing inside him. The shard's presence lingered, a constant reminder of the bond he now shared with their power, and the sacrifices yet to come. The forest exhaled, its oppressive aura lifting as sunlight filtered through the canopy for the first time in what felt like ages. Birds chirped tentatively, and the air smelled fresh, untainted by the earlier darkness. Lila helped Elias to his feet, her hands trembling as she steadied him. "You did it," she said softly, her voice thick with emotion. "You saved her." The woman knelt beside Elias, her gratitude evident in her tear-filled eyes. "I am Amara," she whispered, bowing her head. "For centuries, I was trapped, cursed to roam as a beast. You've given me my life back." Elias managed a weak smile, though the weight of the shard's energy still pulsed within him. "Just promise me one thing. Use your second chance wisely." Amara nodded solemnly. "I swear it. Whatever debt I owe, I will repay." As the trio made their way back to Silver Hollow, the villagers emerged cautiously from their homes, drawn by the sudden calm that had settled over the land. When they saw Amara, frail but unmistakably human, murmurs of awe spread through the crowd. For the first time in weeks, hope flickered in their hearts. Yet Elias knew his journey was far from over. The shard's essence remained a part of him, whispering promises of trials yet to come. He glanced at Lila, who smiled encouragingly, and then at Amara, whose presence was a testament to the power of redemption. Whatever the future held, Elias was ready. After all, he had already proven that even in the darkest moments, a single act of courage could change everything. If you enjoyed this thrilling journey, don't forget to subscribe for more captivating stories that will keep you on the edge of your seat.